Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Chaosium Inc. Week continues to rock on, as today I will be sharing a first look at Call of Cthulhu, A Cold Fire Within, from the aforementioned Chaosium Inc. This is also designed for use with Pulp Cthulhu. It's written by Christopher Smith Adair, with artwork provided by Marius Ganzel, Christina Carroll, Emmanuel Diciati, Andrei Fedosov, Doric Golsu, Victor Leza, Pat Loboyko, and Matt Ryan. And my apologies, I'm sure I somehow mispronounced someone's name in that mix. This 176-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $37.99. You can get that free PDF if you order from Chaosium Inc. or one of their partners, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $17.99. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got A Cold Fire for Call of Cthulhu / Pulp Cthulhu. Few things to mention before we dive on in. First of all, my friends over at Chaosium Inc. were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very, very important that you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of A Cold Fire Within, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what's in this book. Lastly, this is an adventure campaign. So if your keeper has picked up A Cold Fire Within and you are a player, I will definitely recommend tune out now. Even though this is a first look, I have never cracked this book open. There are going to be some spoilers, and you don't want this campaign ruined simply because you are watching this video. Now, of course, if your keeper has not picked up A Cold Fire Within, maybe they've been bouncing it around a little bit, tell them about this video so they can take a peek, get a better feel for this adventure campaign. All right, let's take a look at the back here. I'm not going to read all of this. We'll read a little bit. Brandon Sterling sought answers in experimental past life regression. Unfortunately, his mind isn't the only one seeking answers in the past. A Cold Fire Within is a campaign for Pulp Cthulhu. Set in 1935, a missing persons case leads to the discovery of a foul plot that could change time itself and bring disaster to the world. A cult intent on unleashing the power of the great old ones leaves a trail through the Catskill Mountains and into the very heart of the planets. Sweet! If you're not overly familiar with the Gaming Gang, let me point out that I have been a Call of Cthulhu keeper for over 40 years. This is my absolute go-to role-playing game. I love Call of Cthulhu. I have had so many fun over the decades running CFC, as we refer to it. All right, so let's take a peek. Do you want to give a moment here to take a look at the credits? Let's make sure that we give all the fine folks who brought this to fruition a bit of spotlight time. So we're going to have an introduction, and then it looks like we have 6 chapters, appendices with collected handouts, tomes and spells, new skills, Kenyanian. I bet you that's some sort of lost world or something like that. Equipment and vehicles. And we get some pre-gen characters too. So let's take a peek. I, of course, am not going to look at each and every page here, but I do want to give you a vibe of what's going on with this campaign. It says A Cold Fire Within is a campaign for Pulp Cthulhu set in 1935, wherein a missing persons case uncovers a plot by time travelers to reestablish their lost empire. Worse yet, the villains, in attempting to increase their power, have made the awakening of the great old ones imminent. To stop the premature end of the world, our heroes must follow a trail from New York City to the Catskill Mountains to the subterranean world, hey, I was right with that guess, of Kinyan, and to Yan-Ho at the very center of the earth. Remember, this is a Pulp Cthulhu adventure, so This tends to be a bit more two-fisted action, a bit more weird science in style. Along the way, they may cast their own minds back in time to the night of Lomar's fall. It does say the campaign is largely linear, though the rescue mission in Lomar, I guess it's the final chapter, may take place whenever the heroes decide to attempt it. Sweet. So we get a setup, a little more background. We get a timeline of events. Here we've got our pre-gens. It can't happen here. Nice. Sinclair Lewis, J.C. Moffat at the Adelphi Theater in New York, obviously enough. So it's kind of getting us prepared to kick off the adventure with Chapter 1. Starting in New York City, this chapter sets events in motion for the player characters. The heroes learn that Brendan Sterling has gone missing after keeping somewhat dubious company. He has been seeing a hypnotist named Ferdinand Argus, who specializes in past life regression and who recently left town himself. Sterling also attended some meetings of the League of Forgotten Men in Brooklyn, an American fascist organization whose secretary is the Aryan occultist Leopold Fontenelle of Long Island. Ooh, so maybe this Brendan Sterling isn't a Sterling sort of type himself. Nice. So we're going to get a breakdown of some of the important NPCs in this chapter. Tell you right now, the production quality seems to be really nice. Paper stock is pretty good. Pretty thick. I mean, we're not talking Free League Publishing thick. We're not talking, 80-pound weight paper like that, but it is far thicker than what we encounter from, say, Wizards of the Coast. So we've got some of our handouts, which we will also see in an appendix later on. And then we've got more stat blocks for characters and monsters. Oops, there you go. There's a little spoiler. A cat from Saturn. Well, well, well. H.P. Lovecraft was a big cat lover. If you have read any of his works, there are a few stories that revolve around cats. So we got chapter 2. Let's take a look, see what we got as far as a synopsis here. In this chapter, the heroes journey up the Hudson River to the area surrounding the Catskill Mountains. Clues found in Leopold Fontenelle's residence and Ferdinand Argus's study lead to the transportation hub of Saugerties, New York, on the trail of an expedition whose goal appears to be the inner world. One or more of the heroes may have also received a letter from Dr. Ivan Kalisham, director of the Slater Institute for Parapsychological Studies, asking for their assistance in Woodstock. Some more of the important NPCs for this chapter. It's like the heroes are going to explore this institute, because here we've got a layout of it. Appears that we might have some more missing people, too. Dream tourists from Kinyan. Dream-walking Kinyanese have been wandering the Catskill Mountains and surrounding areas for millennia. They almost never go into buildings, but they are curious about the psychic energies detected within the Institute's walls. They mean no harm and are usually invisible, especially to non-psychics. Well, so we might end up with this time-traveling race who maybe aren't exactly the main villains here. A bit of info about the Catskills. Looks like there might be a bit of a standoff with the folks in the village. Lost World in Blue. On the trail of Argus and Fontenelle, the heroes have made their way through the wilderness of the Catskill Mountains and possibly dealt with Zeke Groth. Entering the cave entrance to the inner world and descending for days, the heroes find themselves in an enormous underground environment. Although there is no immediate indication of where Argus and his cohort are or what precisely they are up to. I like the artwork throughout. Nicely done. So here we've got this secret hidden world. We're going to explore a little bit of the hollow earth theory, no doubt. And this is where we can really start getting into some fantastical elements. Not that you wouldn't have fantastical elements already, because it is Pulp Cthulhu, but this is where we can start going really off the rails. The dripping forest. Looks like they're going to deal with a tribe who live within the hollow earth. So you get a bunch of NPCs and some creatures, some monsters. Maybe not all monsters. They might just be some creatures too. Black Sun Rising. The heroes have traveled to Yan Ho, the very core of the earth, through forbidden magic or unfathomable technology discovered in the ruins of subterranean Kinyan. Here they will find their quarry, the villain Ferdinand Argus, now called Timoris, and the possessed bodies of his victims. Timoris' out-of-control attempt to siphon power from Nug and Yeb places the world in grave danger. Well, this looks really interesting, I gotta say. Very different. And Pulp Cthulhu adventures and campaigns do tend to be a little bit more out there, which if you are someone who only plays kind of classic Call of Cthulhu adventures, might be a little off for you. But if you kind of branch out into various different science fiction role-playing games and more fantasy games, this is probably going to be right up your alley. So here we've got the finale, Time Rescue. This chapter is optional, playable whenever the heroes devise a way to travel back in time, either mentally or physically, and can arrange to do so. The heroes can unlock the first piece of this puzzle when they gain access to the spell for creating a Crystal of Nafkan. A hero using a Crystal of Nafkan to view the psyches of the 6 victims discovers that they have been cast back into the bodies of doomed Lomarians. The heroes may not be fully aware of exactly where and when Lomar exists, but they may know it is somewhere in the past. Without being able to restore the victims' psyches, rescuing their possessed bodies is possible, but hardly ideal. So are our heroes going to be able to travel to different points in time? That sounds pretty cool. Moving into prehistory. Interesting. So this is an optional chapter, so I guess this truly isn't the finale. The finale may have been chapter 5. So it looks like we're getting, I think these are just NPCs, key NPCs. I don't think those were the pre-gens, were they? Let's flip back real quick. No, these are Lomarians. So maybe the players actually will take on the roles of these displaced individuals. So we've got our player handouts. Looks like we've got quite a few of those. Here's our tomes and spells. It was B. Okay, what's C? New skills. So we have parapsychology. We've got new lore and language for the Kinyani, for Kinyan, new psychic powers. And then we've got the Kinyanian equipment and vehicles. And then I think I saw we had our pre-gens. Yep, here we've got our pre-gens. And an index. And that will wrap up A Cold Fire Within for Call of Cthulhu, and of course, Pulp Cthulhu as well. I will have a review of A Cold Fire Within very shortly, so stay tuned for that. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, Don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, The Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch this video. Be sure to tune in for more of the Chaosium Inc. week. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.